campaign has led with joy. So I'm going to lean into that and give you the top 5 headlines to celebrate right now in this election. I'll also be honest and say it's joy, but with a healthy dose of pettiness thrown in. Let's dive in. Hi, everyone. I'm Shauna Presley Bircher, the political fixer. The Harris-Walz campaign has had a strong week. Her opponent, however, had a terrible, horrible, not good, very bad week, and these are the top 5 stories you definitely don't want to miss. The number 5 story, and we're starting off strong here, has to do with his crowd size. Everyone from Kamala Harris to Saturday Night Live has been mocking the former president's crowds and saying that they leave his events early. Now, there's been a lot of speculation as to the cause of that, but the Washington Post decided to interview attendees as they're leaving early and just ask them, why are you leaving? Journalism, we love to see it. There were complaints about how long they were made to wait, the fact that the sound system was poor and they couldn't hear, the fact that the concession stands were closed and they couldn't get food or water. But this was the quote that got me. Anastasia Bennett was an undecided voter, and she was leaving his rally early, and she was asked why, and she said that it was the insults and how long she had to wait, and that now she is voting for Kamala Harris. Now, this is interesting because this is more than just a blow to his ego. Now, a key pillar of his campaign strategy is actually causing him to lose votes. The number 4 headline is that the Springfield goose mystery has been solved. It turns out that someone was actually targeting geese in the community. And in fact, police have made an arrest. Someone was using a shotgun to unalive geese and then throwing them in the bushes, which, by the way, is way creepier than if you are hunting them for food. Thanks to Stephen Monticelli at the Texas Observer, we actually have an arrest report. And it turns out that there was a guilty plea by Brian Comer, who, according to the arrest record, is a, quote, heavy-set white male. So not Haitian then. So this week has been terrible for JD Vance. He could not admit that Trump lost the 2020 election on a stage and lost a tremendous amount of credibility. And now this story that he was fanning the flames on has blown up in his face entirely. You might almost say that Vance's goose is cooked. Number 3 top joyful headline is that the dock workers strike, at least for now, seems to have come to an end. Approximately 50,000 dock workers across 14 different ports on the East Coast and Gulf Coast have agreed to return to work. Even for pro-union people like myself, there was something about this strike that really wasn't smelling right. First of all, they were asking for a 77% increase in salary. And we know that during negotiations, they were offered a nearly 50% increase in pay, plus an increase in retirement benefits. Yet the negotiations weren't moving anywhere. And that's not normally how that works. Then there was a small issue where the president of the dock workers union was found to be quite cozy with the former president, who was saying in public that it was good news for him if the strike was prolonged throughout the election. But it was also revealed where the union president is currently residing, and it is extremely difficult to keep your workers motivated to miss out on their paychecks when you are living in a mega mansion and driving a Bentley. The two sides did agree to start communicating, and not only have they agreed to postpone the strike and try to continue negotiations throughout the holidays and past the new year, but there's something else that they agree on, that the person to give credit to for bringing them to the table and reaching this tentative agreement is none other than Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg. That's right, a member of the Biden-Harris cabinet. Our number 2 joyful headline is about a woman who is deep in the finding out phase of her personal journey, Tina Peters. Many of you have asked me if I believe that there's going to be election tampering in the 2024 election. And one of the things that I've said on record many times is that I believe part of that was going to be dependent on whether or not the people who committed election tampering and fraud in 2020 faced real consequences for those actions. Would it deter others from following up with more shenanigans, essentially? Well, we got a big piece of that puzzle filled in. Tina Peters was a former election official in Mesa County, Colorado, and she was convicted in August for tampering with voting equipment and with election records, claiming that she was trying to prove that the election had been stolen in favor of President Biden. So, just to be clear, she committed election fraud to prove that there was election fraud. Judge Matthew Barrett was done with her nonsense in a tirade that lasted at least 18 minutes that I counted. He called her a charlatan, said that she was no hero, and that she was a peddler of snake oil that has proven to be junk. Now, I promised you petty, here it goes. Not only did he sentence her to 8.5 years in prison, he tacked on an additional sentence saying that she would then need to come back to the county detention facility and serve out another 6 months because what she did harmed their community. And so she needed to serve it in the community that she caused the most damage. And our top story, which I hope brings you joy in the election season right now, is related to the unsealed filing accusing the former president of multiple conspiracies to subvert the 2020 election results, or as I like to call it, the Jack Smith cryptogram. Now, this is something we are going to be covering a lot more in the future, but for now, I want to bring you a little bit of an inside scoop on a delicious piece of drama. Let me set the stage for you. So, the US government has long been pushing for more transparency in these trials. The lead counsel, Jack Smith, wanted to release a filing and make it public so that we, the voters, could understand more about what they found, not just in their own investigation, but with sworn testimony of a number of different witnesses. The former president's attorneys objected to the filing being made public, and one of the reasons they cited was because they said that they were worried about the safety of the witnesses listed in the filing, which is laughably ironic. But nevertheless, the judge did rule that before the filing went public, the names would need to be redacted, and Jack Smith's legal team complied. And here is yet another healthy dose of petty. When the filing was submitted to the judge and then subsequently released, it didn't just have a bunch of black permanent markings all over it. Instead, what Jack Smith did was label each of the redactions with a P1 or P2 for a person of interest that's mentioned in the filing, and a CC1 and CC2 for a co-conspirator. And it gets even better. Some of the information he included in the filing were things like public tweets made by the former president, which became like a Rosetta Stone for the entire filing. So, puzzle lovers and true crime buffs basically united on the internet, and within hours, there was an entire key that was made itemizing everyone who had been implicated in this extremely damning filing that we are going to be hearing about for weeks ahead. And in the coming weeks, I'll continue to bring you insights and intel into this historic election. Please follow me at Political Fixer and like and share this content if you found it helpful, engaging, or it just made your day a little bit brighter during this stressful time. I'm Shauna Presley Bircher, and I'll see you all soon.